Welcome. Hopefully you can hear me and see me okay. Today, we're talking about financial abuse. If you've ever been a victim and what it is. Let's see. Oh, that's better for me anyway. Financial abuse and money and jobs and education. All the different ways. Well, financial abuse is control of money, whether it's all the money for the family or your money, your paycheck, your source of income, your money. When somebody else wants control of it and wants to tell you how to spend it and what you should spend it on. We sort of were talking about it before, about stopping you from getting an education, going to school and furthering yourself, getting a job where you could earn your own money and have your own money to spend. Stopping you. If you're sick, stopping you from getting your medication, so you stay sick and you can't do anything. If you have a disability, the same thing. It depends on the disability. Stopping you from doing what? Going places? That means they have control of not only the money, but your food, your clothing, which ones, where you go, how you get there. If you don't have money, you can't go anywhere, right? So your options are what? Where you can walk to? That's financial abuse when you don't have any money, right? Why did you guys use the food bank? Because you didn't have enough money to buy groceries? Because groceries cost too much? Or you didn't have the money to buy what you wanted? Well, you mentioned those 35-cent noodles, right? So technically, everybody could have bought noodles if they were starving and hungry. Technically, right? You didn't need to go to a food bank. So, depends how you look at it. Some people don't have money to go to college? That's why they have all kinds of grants and loans, the same thing, subsidies to help, because not everyone's parents can afford to send their kids or all their kids? Well, how long do you think parents would have to save if they were saving for their kids to go to college? So we can tell them now for all the future generations. Just like when you have a baby, right? You went over that one, planning for a baby, all the things you have to buy, all the things you need before you have the baby. So, the same way. For college, how long parents have to save if they want to save for their kids? Yeah, from your kids. What year should they start? Well, they qualify under programs that exist. The education fund. What's an education fund for? I'm not going to get banned for saying the brand name. You keep pushing people to do what? Let's go back to the food bank. How did you get there? Did you walk there? Did you take the bus? That's $4.50. How much is the bus? How much was the bus to get to the food bank? I told you I live in reality. So, if you went to the food bank, doesn't matter which one, from where, how much did you pay on the bus? And could you bring everything on the bus? Did the bus driver have problems? Did the passengers have problems? Did you need 2 seats? Did you take a backpack? If you walk there, did you take everything and walk with it? If you had a car, no problem, right? You just picked everything up and went back home. So like I said the last time, what if you took that home and calculated the price, compared it to the grocery store when you did it? What do you think would happen if you actually knew the total of everything that you got? During COVID, your mortgage was the priority, right? To keep your house. So food came next. That's why you used the food bank, because those were the priorities. Well, let's say you have kids. 2 parents have a kid, but only one of them works. Who makes the decision today of who works and who's going to take care of the kid? You have the option of hiring a babysitter. There are programs in the school, in the community center, that will take care of them. If a babysitter charged an hourly rate the same as a job, right? You basically would be working for 20 an hour and paying the babysitter 20 an hour, right? So there would be no point. You might as well just stay home with your kid. That's common sense, right? You can't change that. If you worked a job for $20 an hour and a babysitter worked as a babysitter for $20 an hour, you're paying them the same you're making the hour. So what would be the point? So if you didn't have the option of discounted childcare, you wouldn't have the ability for two of you to work, right? And get two incomes instead of one income for your household. Yes, then you have the childcare benefit, which is money your child gets, right? Because the parents are working now. They have their working income. So that should cover your housing and groceries, right? If two parents are working full time, your kids are at school, and they get the childcare benefit to take care of their clothing and food and whatever else they need. Do people go out? Where do you go out to? If you and your family go out, where do you go? What do you do on the weekends? If you go to a movie, how much does it cost? A family is what? Say two adults and two kids. Let's pretend. How much would it cost in real life if you calculated those movie tickets and then if you get popcorn and drinks? The actual cost would be what? Where else do you go? To the park? You have a picnic? You go to the park, buy fast food, and hang out? The same thing, you just don't call it a picnic? You take a basketball, a soccer ball? Where do you go in Malton if you go out with your family on the weekends? Or March break? Or Christmas break? Or any of them? Hopefully to have fun, not to argue in front of people. Is that what you do in Malton? Maybe? Yeah, I think I saw that at the mall. We're not blaming people, or I'd blame the building. Not the one I live in, the one next door. Because they'll never know it's me. I know. I have no idea what Malton did. They just confused everybody. I don't have time for you to learn good. Those days are over. You had how many years? That'll be a good time. Oh, this is the box one I bought for the nonprofit. As you can see it, but it's just like prizes, right? Remember the prize drop game? So these were the prizes, some of them that I had for when I actually do it. So we're just gonna borrow. Which one? I think this one. For this live stream, the worm, to match the background, the red one. You can't see him. How about if you include him? No. There are too many worms on Malton. That's what he's included for. Okay, it's not a worm. So, can you see? No. Let me help you. It's got a head. That's a unicorn. Can you see it? No. Well then. There. said I'm wrong. What do you want me to do? Send them back? There's all kinds of toys. There's tails at the other end. Maybe it's a stress toy. Yeah, look all of them up one by one. I think it'd be quicker if I ask the kids, right? I bet you they'll know what to do with it. Right? Is it for stress? Is it for exercise? Is it a bookmark? No, I'm asking the parents. If the kid brought this home, would they know what to do with it? I am asking you. What if they go to a party? They brought this home. What would you tell them to do with it? So you can get a good idea. Okay. Well, back to financial abuse. If your kids went to a birthday party and they got loot bags, and one of the kids got that, and the other kid wanted it, what would you do? Because they had different stuff. Well, there's also things like this, right? So sometimes the parents make the loot bags randomly, or they just put things. They can't always be sure of what's in them and who gets what. So if you had a little girl who got this and a little boy who got this, depends who you are, depends on your kids. Why? Because there are all kinds of things like this, a keychain, right? For anyone, everyone. So if you're giving out the prizes or putting them in bags where you can't see, like things like this are in a wrapper, right? A little squishy. Is that what he is? Is he a squishy? What is he? A chicken? A triangle? Glow in the dark? Okay, I'm trying to get a good picture of him so you can see him. I heard a kid outside. What do you want me to do? It's not my fault. Oh, what was the other one? We're talking about what the parents would do with them, what the kids do with them, what they're for, how you know. Well, let's go ask that kid what a squishy is and why. Play with it. Well, this is in the same box, right? All kinds of prizes. If things were fair, this wouldn't have came in the box for me, right? Well, which kid am I supposed to give this to? Does that seem fair to you? If you saw things like this, but then when you actually tried, if you weren't familiar, patient, which one? Then a bracelet, right? Just how old? What age? If you know what to do with it. As you said, I'm sure. Years and years, right? You've probably done everything already before, and you've seen them all. So, probably nothing new here. I'm showing you, right? but just in case. Never seen these things. They jump. You push them down, and I didn't know that till I found out. They're like little springs. Damn, like this, right? Puzzles and pieces. So not all ages. And things like sticky hands. Some of you know what to do with the sticky hands. Some kids don't know what they are. How did we get on the topic of financial abuse? Because what were we talking about? Where you take your kids? What you do with them on the weekends? I don't mean put them in a babysitter's house. What you do with them on the weekends. When you go, where do you go to Woodbine Center? Are there all the rides there? Well, what do you win there if you play the games? How much do the games cost? A loonie, a toonie, $5? A ticket? There used to be a fishing game. What did you win there? Let's see if I can find a good substitute. I didn't open them, so still all the packets, but these are rings. You can see them. They're just rings with, and these ones have butterflies. So those are packages, a bunch of them. Should I read the comments now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no point. Well, let's see. When you send your kids and you pay at the CNE, what kinds of games did you play at the CNE? How much did they cost? These are spinning tops. You know what spinning tops are? Okay, so when you went to the CNE, what kind of prizes did you win? What kind of games did you play? They didn't have any? That's those poppets, right? That's what they're called. So, what kinds of games did you play? What did you win? Stuffed animals? I guess this is like a squishy, but it's got like those little beads, or beads, whatever you call them, inside of it. So a bunch of squishies inside a squishy ball. See it now. Is that better? So stress buster for those. I don't know then. Okay, back to what you do with your children. If you're under financial abuse and you have no money or limited money to spend when you take them out, or you're on a budget, I guess that could work too, right? The whole life coach thing. So, I guess everyone everywhere. What did they do at the CNE? You bought food for your kids to try? New food? How about this one? It's another, what is it, decoration? This is squishy. No, it's not my fault. They're everywhere. This one is like a little crown with a heart in it. It's cute. What do you do with them? Can't see. There. You see it now? These are soft and squishy. Oh, you throw them at people so they don't hurt. You play catch. You play basketball with them. You have a paper cup and you toss them in. That's making your own fun when you don't have money, right? That's what your kids can do in the house when you're mean and screaming at them. They just go in their room and they find their toys and play different games, right? That's what I taught you. Is this one a fan, a pinwheel? I'm sure it moves if you open it. Oh, there's a whistle on the end, so when you blow into the whistle, it makes it spin. What if you're in the car going somewhere with your kids and they get bored in the car or they get car sick? What do they do in the car? If you have more than one. If you have one. The color? They're on their phone? We're trying to avoid phones, right? Not me, the children, right? Okay. I'm just gonna go see if my plug will reach. That's it. Okay, how about clothing? Where do you get your clothes from? If you have brothers and sisters, do you use their clothes? Do you get their clothes? You get all brand new your own? You can leave all the comments you want, but like I said, you're sitting in Malton. Daniel Drummond's family is here, right? And he's where? I told you. You what? I told you it's abuse, right? You're an abuser. Where do abusers go? Don't they go to jail? Let's talk about the Mary Jane I smoke for nausea. If I didn't have money, where do you think I got it from? If I went into debt because I needed it not to be nauseous. Yeah, we are reality. You're talking about how come I couldn't work, right? So if you're nauseous, how do you think I worked then if I had the same nausea? I worked at Community Roots when I was 19. That was the same community center, Malton Community Center. That was Ridgewood Public School, the same school in the morning. It was a summer program, right? Community Roots too. 19. I was 19. I told you, one of these days, one of these comments is going to get you actually messed up. I don't care. That's fiscally irresponsible to go into drug debts. Why didn't you talk about how old he was? 14? To be selling it? So stop it. Oh no, we're going to look around today. It was a 3-year difference. If I was 17 and he was 14. Well, let me hear you. Reality again. That was 1996. Is it going to change? Really? That's strange. You want to go back to his friends in Malton right now? Where they are right now? Who went to Morningstar with him? Grade 9, that's 14. The girls who were in that same class? Morningstar was a high school then, right? High school, grade 9, 14. Mm-hmm. Well, let's ask Monique and Shauna how old they were and who they were dating. That's the same Morningstar. Who do you think you're talking about? Daniel Drummond. Oh, they're going to think back now, right? Yeah, high school is how many grades? If we're being real. Mm-hmm. And where was Westwood? It wasn't Lincoln, it was Westwood. Mm-hmm. So how did they separate it then? Who went to which school? Which school is junior high? If I went to Lancaster, mm-hmm. Which school do you think they went to from Lancaster? If they still have the same border or boundaries. What schools go up to grade 8 from kindergarten in Malton? And what schools are 6, 7, and 8? Just 6, 7, and 8. Do you want to go over NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, what you think that is? What do you think a personality disorder is? A disorder is when something is out of order, right? So a personality disorder is something off with your personality. A narcissist likes power, control, and money to put on a good show. If we consider that, why do they put other people in financial abuse? So they can keep up that good show no matter what it takes? The quickest way, yeah, to make sense for everybody. They'll do whatever it takes to keep up their image. Well, if you have a spouse or someone you're with, how does it work for your bank account? Do you have two separate ones or one account? How do you pay your bills? Is it a joint account and the bills come out? Or do you have separate accounts and one you pays it? Well, if only one of you is working, then they have control of the money, right? If they're doing it on purpose, stopping the other person from working, that's financial abuse. So they can keep control of the money. They can keep control of the person, right? Because if you don't have money, you can't do anything, go anywhere. You have to ask them every time you want something. That's controlling behavior, right? Financial abuse. They don't want you to have a job because they want control. Don't Trust Wine says, I like to take all of my girlfriend's money and just give her an allowance when I see fit. That's a perfect example. I am the overseer and I know what's right for my woman. Well, some people now might consider that control, financial control, financial abuse, and even call you bad words, right? Use words like coercive control and jail for having control of your girlfriend's money and giving her an allowance to live off of. Do you see that as normal? Where does your girlfriend's money come from? From where? A job? From what? The government? Where does her money come from? And where does your money come from? A job or the government? You give her an allowance when you see fit. So when she needs like female products, do you go buy them or do you give her the money? I'm not joking. I'm asking you. She teaches children with learning disabilities, and I'm unemployed because I got fired for smoking Mary Jane before my 6 a.m. shift. Well, that's real good. Just make sure he has no ID. He can't go fraud anybody, and make sure he has to live off of himself. That's the easiest one of all, right? You're unemployed. She teaches children with learning disabilities. I don't care if you're joking. Good lesson for which one? The workers? The landlords? The renters? To check? The spouses? The workers? The police? Which one to check? Nobody's joking. How many times? If you got grants and subsidies, if the payment was sent directly to the landlord and the landlord just locked you out of the house, what do you think would happen? You would what? He's getting the check every month. What are you doing? What some people got away with? Which one? For years? If you what? A parent getting the child care? The same thing? They didn't see any of it? Which one? How is it different than what this guy just said about his wife? What is that, his girlfriend? That is the definition of financial abuse. You have control over somebody else's money. Where do you see that normal? It says, I like to take all of my girlfriend's money and just give her an allowance when I see fit. So what would you call that? So how does your girlfriend get food, and how do you get food? Oh, are we? You want to go over who? You're actually sitting here. The police better be with you if you're going to call Franklin's name again near me. Yeah, we went over online accounts, how you can open a bank account online for his girlfriend. What you need to go to the Malton Public Library and look it up. That's what you need to do. The computers are free. Wherever your money's coming from is what? Direct deposit? Then how does he get it? You don't allow your girlfriend to use the internet. I just told you there's free internet in the mall, in the Westwood Square. There's free internet in the Wendy's, in the McDonald's. There's free internet in the library. Even if what? I just told you there's computers at the library. If you don't have a phone, what do you block them from going to the library too? She can't go to the library without my approval. Well, why don't you call the human trafficking team while you're at it and tell them? I'd love for you to do that. Do you want to do that now? We'll take a break and you can go do that. She knows better to try and access to the internet. She learned that the medium way. Oh, that's real good. Maybe. Too late for maybe. What other things we went over? If that's what you do to your girlfriend, how does she get food? How does she get female products, soap, shampoo? Where does she go if she doesn't leave the house? How does she get food? How do you get food? Does she cook for you? What other things? Do you have a child? Do any of you have children near you? What other things? Do you both have ID? A photo card? How much does a photo card cost? A passport, a driver's license, a health card? I'm giving ideas to who? Where do you keep them? You want to sit here and tell me you're trapping your girlfriend like a you know what? Go, let me hear. Where's your ID? Yeah, in case she has to take yours. Let me hear. Bank card, phone. How many? Google Pay. Where is all the money? How do you pay? How many ways are there to pay when you go? Besides cash. How many credit cards, bank cards? How many ways can you access money from someone? Whose name is it all in? So whose name is getting ruined? if one doesn't care? I get her everything she needs. She just has to do all the housekeeping and childcare, and I control the finances like a boss and hero. I keep all of her ID in a safe. She doesn't have the code to. It's very safe and healthy. I recommend she go to the police and explain this to them so they can help her get an ID. Put everything on record once. Which one? Try the Safe Center of Peel. Don't they have all the services there? If you said you have children involved, she takes care of the children. How do you prove who you are? Where's your birth certificate? How did you get ID? If you came to Canada, how did you get to Canada? So how do you get ID in Canada? What's ID in Canada? People are having issues with their birth certificate proving where they were born, how to get a new one, and what would you like me to do about that now? That was how many years ago? They had to wait for what? I don't know what you keep getting into. Like I said, you have no idea. I have no idea. Human trafficking? You want me to ruin my whole YouTube channel because you what? You've been worthless for 6 years? All of Peel Region and all their services? No, I don't think I'm going to do that either. Why don't you tell them where, when the women leave, where are they going to go? To Kothra? That's the only shelter? Where else are they going to go? They're going to get into Allen House? So let me hear. What's she going to do? What's the first thing? What's the priority? She's happy. She's fine. She's okay living there. There's physical violence. She wants to get away. She wants her own house. She wants him to take care of the child. She wants him to what? She doesn't want anything to do with him? I'm not laughing. Which one is it? I have a credit score of 828. Don't play with me in the top 20% of the nation. Like I told you, you start with a perfect score, so don't try that with me. All that means is what? You paid all your bills? You could add one credit card and paid it every month. That means nothing to me. Your credit score of 828. Do you want to know what happened when you ruined mine? My credit score? And I had to start back? I got the Coho prepaid card and I started building back my credit. How do you think my credit got ruined? I ended up in the shelter and there was a no contact order and I couldn't have any money and pay anything, like my insurance bill. How do you think I lost my medical insurance? The medical insurance I was paying for myself every month. The one that paid for my dental insurance. That one. They know what they did. That's why they keep mentioning it. $100 a month for insurance I paid for my eye care, right? So I could get glasses and contacts and go to the dentist. 100% coverage I had. 100%. I told you to check. Where do you get 100% coverage for dental now? From who? This was insurance I paid for. Yeah, let me hear again how I lost it. Narcissistic abuse and financial abuse. That's what we're talking about. A victim your whole life, and you're sitting here trying to do it again. That's what we're talking about right now. The question is, what's normal? There seems to be too many that know this. So what's normal if this is all narcissistic abuse behavior? Or worse is right. Why would she do that? She loves it here. She always tells me when I ask, why would she do what? Lie? Well, if there's a threat of violence, minimum, why would she do that? You just said you have all her money, you take all her money. All she has to do is take care of the kids and do the housework. Be your slave while you take her money, and she'll be fine. Why didn't you explain that again? Some people don't realize their husband and wife, that's what they've been doing. When they're doing it on purpose, when they're trying to keep you away from your own money, that's how you know. When it's not normal to you. She cooks for me and takes care of the baby boy. So you actually just said she works. She cooks. She does all the chores. She takes care of a baby boy. If I believe that you said you're unemployed, what I would do to you? Where would you live if you have a baby? What is the family shelter for? What are all those services for? The Safe Center of Peel. What is it for? Where were you? What hospital were you in if you had a baby? Who has all those records? They don't have your ID. They don't know who you are. If you had to what? What are you laughing at now? Well, even if you get into, I guess, one of the worst cases, right? College or university, and then they stop you from getting there. You don't have bus fare, you don't have a way to get there. Then what do? Can you imagine? You try to explain that to the school. If which one? You got in? That's not enough? It's the same thing, right? If you got a job, went to the interview, and then well, to prepare, winter is going to come, right? So you need winter boots. That'd be a good idea if you're under financial abuse, right? Find a way to get a pair now. Or maybe not now. Maybe you have to hide it. Depends on who it is. And a winter coat so you can go out if you need to. Really? You want me to imagine what you guys did with calling people crazy? If you involved seniors, calling them senile with the what? Alzheimer's? You didn't even know what it meant? With their money? If they got payments? Why would I do that? If you were doing this to your girlfriend and telling me like it's nothing, why would I ever put that past you? What is the difference between a senior if it's your mother or father doing that to them? If that's your girlfriend, who wouldn't you do it to? Now imagine if you were a landlord. How would you be somebody different? The joke. I have to find food after this. How am I going to get it when you have no money? Still early. What time is it? 6 o'clock? What was I busy doing? Why don't you go back on my Instagram and take a good look what I was busy doing? Really? One by one of you. Every single one of you in Malton. My name you're calling. You ever call it again? What did I say I was going to do to you? Does it look like it changed? I'm still Amy Seukeran, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Life Coach, Canada. Nonprofit organization CEO. Apartment 47. Right? Malton? Yeah, this is fun for me. Every time you say the word narcissist and I say, where did you hear the word? Every time I have to tell you again, I opened the business in 2019, a narcissistic abuse recovery life coach. Do you know another one? Where did you hear the word life coach? Where did you hear the word narcissist? For 6 years, you think I knew I was going to come back and live in Malton? Fun? You're an abuser. You're abusers. You let these abusers get away. Power, control, and money. They have no feelings. They don't care what happens to people. They want power, control, and money. For 6 years, you've been doing this, letting them get away. Now, because I came to live in Malton, you're what, the source of it? You're sitting here telling jokes like absolutely nothing. So, September 5th, 2025, 6:02 p.m. Yeah, my hour, right? I'm going to end it here for today. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something. Enjoy your weekend, Malton.